Welcome to the stream, everybody. My name is Jose. I am a Golden in Kendo, and this is Kendo Tips. Today, my goal is to provide you with some good videos about basics and also do a couple little reviews from our videos. The plan that I have for today is going to be sharing some videos that I found that deals with basics, and then analyzing a little bit about some of my videos and also some videos that you guys have sent me. So let's see how much time. I don't want to go too far, too long on this stream today. Maybe we won't have time to do all the videos that I got sent, but at least we can try. The point with me of doing that is because I want to make sure not only that I show the example that we're striving to, but also trying to work on fixing some of the problems that we're having. Fortunately, I have an awesome community in Discord that you guys are welcome to join, and there are the videos what I'm getting from. So if you would like to send me some videos, please send them to me through Discord, because we have such a good and supportive community there. And I want to make sure that everything that I share, I'm doing it with the purpose of us getting better at Kendo and getting stronger and just improving and striving for good Kendo rather than criticizing people. So I know that people at the server, at the Discord server, are very supportive of each other. So I kind of want to bring that into the streams as well. By the way, I'm gonna put the Discord server. Let's see if the bot is working today. The Discord server should be popping up, and I'll catch up with the comments, guys, in a second. Thank you very much, everybody that's passing by. If you haven't, please take a second to hit the like button. Really helps the stream. Also, I know I haven't been posting or going live too much lately. I'm getting myself ready to put up some new videos that I hope you guys will enjoy a lot. And if you have any suggestions or anything you guys would like me to talk about, make sure to let me know down in the comments, or again, you can pass by the Discord server. Let's see, my chat is a little bit slow here. Okay. So the Discord server, it's on the chat box, and if you would like to also support the channel or become a member to get a couple of extra perks, there's also a link that is being put up in the chat as well that you can do so there. Okay, let me catch up with some of the comments. Shen, thank you very much for passing by. Hi. Alicia, you said you like the shirt. Yeah, it's a pretty cool shirt. It was a gift, Christmas gift, and going on the holiday spirit. And yeah, pretty cool shirt. Hopefully, my girlfriend, she gave me a couple more, so maybe I'll do a couple more different ones for different streams before Christmas. But it's a cool shirt. Love it. So you're saying hopefully your connection doesn't cut out too much. Okay. Well, if not, obviously all the streams that I post, they stay on the channel. All you have to do is go to the stream section and see them there, because normally I put them unlisted, so that way it doesn't clutter the channel. Okay, so in the past couple of weeks, I've been showing, let me see. I've been showing this videos. Oh, sorry, not this video. Oh, sorry. I want to make sure that I have this video. Okay, so I've been showing this video with Takenouchi, and I believe this video was made after he won the All Japan Championship. I've been trying to find the link of it. I think, I don't know if it's Kendo Jidai or somebody else that has the rights for this video. They took it down from YouTube. I haven't been able to find it. I wanted to post it on the Discord server. If not, maybe we can find a way to, if anybody finds the link, and if not, maybe we can find a way to share it. But there's a lot of good stuff going on here, and there's a lot of good examples that are being shown. So mainly I wanted to focus today on striking. The reason for that is because my previous two streams, I worked on footwork. So now the transition, I have worked kamae, footwork, and now striking. That's the transition I like to do when I practice at the dojo, when I have a new student. This is kind of the progression I like to go into. And hopefully you guys benefit from it, because then, you know, we'll get all good Kendo. Anyway, so let's start with men. Okay, so they do a little demonstration at the beginning of the strike, but there's a couple of things that I like to point out here. Let me see if I can. Okay, They're gonna do big men separately, but I kind of want to just break down a little bit of some of the things that we're seeing here from the small men. Even a little bit before that. Hold on. There's like another section behind before that. Okay. Okay. So every time I practice my Quijón, I like to work from a little bit of a far distance and coming in, right? Kind of simulating semi. If you notice, they also do that here. I hate like this video when they're so long because I cannot go. Okay. So if you notice here, the beginning of the practice starts with a little bit of farther distance, right? Although I'm pretty sure that both of these kenshi can actually hit at this distance, they don't. The reason why I like to practice coming in and striking is because number one, you get to practice a little bit of the feeling of semi, understanding how to approach your opponent to cause a reaction to then get the technique. But also is because if you attack from this far, it becomes very predictable, right? I know at the dojo we always try to get a far reach and being able to do a far strike, but a lot of times it's very beneficial to understand how to attack at a shorter distance or a more comfortable distance. If you practice coming in from so very far away and attacking directly from there, your opponent can start catching on your timing. It's really hard for you to actually surprise your opponent. But if instead you get into the habit of practicing understanding how to come in, how to move your body to approach your opponent, and also the feeling of the shinai with your opponent's shinai, then you can start understanding what type of reaction, what does it look like when there's an opening, so you can come in and take the ippon. This way, when you have a little bit of a closer distance, you're able to surprise your opponent and be able to have a solid and be able to have a steady man. What's the word? No, not steady. Like I guess steady, but you want to have a strong body posture and good sanshin, and you get this by not overreaching. So you're gonna see that in this basic practice, this is exactly what's happening. You see the kenshi on the left, which is takenouchi. Start feeling the shinai, then approaching, closing the distance slightly, and from there, attacking the man. So if you notice, there's a couple of things that happen as he's trying to approach the distance. Let me go back a little bit. You see, he's starting from this distance, but he kind of tries to close in the distance without really letting his opponent know, right? Then to come in for the men. Now, big thing is to understand how to move your body to close the distance so the body, the feet are ready to go and attack immediately when you anticipate that there's going to be an opening. In my previous stream, I believe I said that you don't want to go in when the opening is there, but you kind of want to go in right as the opening. You want to anticipate the opening so it's a little bit harder for your opponent to catch on. The other thing that you do by approaching your opponent is that you start creating momentum. If your momentum is, like if your opponent is flat, like if you don't have any momentum, if you're just on the spot, it's harder for you to start moving in comparison to somebody that's already coming in, right? So this is another good point on practicing small men or practicing any technique this way. You want to learn and understand how to start creating momentum, approach your opponent, and identify the opening. On the striking, let me see. Okay, I was too far. on the striking, there's a couple of things that happens. He's doing small men, and there's something very particular because there's a couple different ways of doing small men, right? If you notice, the most basic and the most the standard way, you want to push your hands away towards your opponent, right? If you're gonna see, he's gonna lift the tip for the shinai without bending his elbow, right? He's not pulling, so his energy is going out. Let me actually go back just a few seconds, maybe. Okay. So if you notice, to approach small man, when he engages his body, he's already throwing the leg, and then after he throws the legs, the hands are following. He's pushing his hands away from his body to reach his opponent. He's not pulling back the tip. He's not pulling back the sword. He's not bending his right elbow. As a matter of fact, he's actually pushing both hands. And let me just shift real quick. By doing this, see, the mistake that most people make when they're trying to do small men is that they try to pull. Actually, wait, hold on. I have this camera. Let's see how this looks. Oh, sorry guys. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I don't know why this camera is not toggling on, but okay, I'll put this on. So if you notice, he's not lifting the tip. He's not lifting the tip by pulling with the right arm, right? Instead, he's pushing his hands away, and the left hand kind of comes in under the right one, right? This is what's creating that lift the tip. He's not doing this. This is very important in order to create a good solid strike that is not, this is very important to create a good solid strike that is not clumsy, that doesn't hit extremely hard, that is flexible, fluid, fast, sharp, all these things. So if you notice, from here, then by the time that his hands get to the final position, this is when he starts using the tenouchi to bring the tip down. This is what creates this motion, that sharp feeling of striking the opponent. Now, of course, this is very kind of like sporty sometimes, or it could be very competitive. So the form is not always perfect. But you're going to see that after, they're gonna cut it, aren't they? Let me see. Yeah, they're probably gonna cut it. They just paused it there. Okay, no, they didn't. Okay, so after the tip goes up, most people see this and they think that they have to lift the hands. The mistake is to lift the hands. The tip goes up naturally, bouncing off the target, but it doesn't, but you shouldn't pull the sword. You should just let it go where it needs to go, but without having to force it or pulling it away. Why? Because if you do this, you end up actually making your hit lighter by doing that. I actually have a video of mine later on that we want to be able to check out and see it and explore a little bit more of this point. Shen, left hand extends first, then the right hand extends. I would say that they both go at the same time. Maybe, hold on. Okay, if you do, maybe I should just do this other. I don't understand why this button is not working. Hold on. It's not working. If you do one first and then the other, you get this feeling. Your left hand pushes, the right hand follows, right? But at some point, your left hand has to kind of catch up with the right one. And that's what gets this motion. You could practice pushing in, but you don't want to make it like this, first of all, and you don't want to exaggerate the motion this way, right? Should be natural. So, as a matter of fact, at some point when I was practicing, I believe in California, the sensei was mentioning to practice where the tip goes up to the ceiling. I think that this is a good way to kind of start understanding that you have to push in with your left hand. But, it could also be misinterpreted. It could also be open to misinterpretation. So you want to make sure that it's a natural feel. You don't want to push one hand under the other. It's a natural feeling. Both hands come in, and then the left one kind of catches up, and then Tenouchi happens. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Let me know. Okay. So what I wanted to do right now, we're gonna go over men a little bit, and I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of my men practice. I believe I have men and small men to show you. Okay, when you're practicing your basics, when you're practicing your basics for men, you want to make sure that you're doing everything synchronized. So, I went back too far. For example, this practice right here, the left leg comes in tight with the hands, right? You want to make sure that your left leg pushes in sharply. If you don't do this, you're gonna drag your leg. And also, that means that you don't have support on your back leg either. So, also, by the way, Shen, since you asked if a hand should move first, if the left hand should move first and then the right, the motions that we're doing are very similar to big men. So if you notice, he's going to be doing big men right here, but the left hand and the right hand are coming in just like if they were going to do small men. So this is the same. Let me go back maybe a few seconds. On a slow down version here, you can see that the way to do small men is no different than big men. It's the same. So it's the beginning of the swing. Look. You see, he's pushing, granted. He's going to go higher. The form is slightly different, but the motion of the hands is very similar. He's pushing in with the left. The right hand is following the sword, or is following. I like the way that Griva Sensei says it. The right hand is there for the right. It's not pulling, it's not pushing. It's going along with the sword. And then this will be kind of like the end of the small man, where the Tenouchi happen. By the way, look at how the shinai is bending. This is great because you want to make sure the shinai bend this way. If your shinai kind of bends up like this, like if it does like an arch this way, probably you're hitting too deep. And if it doesn't, if you see this, it's kind of like the shinai is transferring the energy forward, it's not down either, right? So if there's an arch down, that means also that you're hitting down. So you gotta be careful also. Sometimes seeing this could be beneficial. And look how the hands end, right? Of course, right now he's focusing on a good form, but after the strike, you see the sword should bounce up. If your sword is getting stuck, that means that you're pushing down with the right hand, or you're putting too much energy after the strike with the left hand. So right at the moment of strike, your sword should bounce. Let me see if I can me see if I can replicate this. So if your target is here and then you hit it, if you do this, that means you're putting too much force after. If it does the type of thing where like it hits, it kind of goes down like this, too much force on the right hand. And what's the other one? And obviously sometimes it's just like not enough hitting. That could also mean that you're pulling the sword up. Now, there's something that if you want to break down the mechanics of how the force is applied into the target, this is what I do. At the moment of impact, what happens? Your shinai, it's on the target, right? Your right hand is squeezing to do the tenouchi. Your left hand also squeezing, but it's almost like pulling. This shirt kind of doesn't let me do my correct swing, so I'm sorry. The left hand is squeezing and almost like pulling in, right? What ends up happening is the right hand is, let me just maybe put this here. The right hand ends up being stationary here. And the left hand, it's pulling. So the force is coming from the left hand pulling. So the right hand kind of serves as a support point so the energy can transfer into the tip of the sword. If you look at the moment of impact, let's see if we can actually rewind that to that specific point. So maybe I should, you know what, maybe I should organize this in a video as well. I think this is a very interesting point. But if you look at the moment of impact, you see the right hand will stay in place and the left hand is the one creating the force. So look, so you see the right hand is going to end up here. At this point, you see the right hand is being the support, so that way the sword, when he's pulling the sword is not moving up, right? So he's kind of pulling the sword to throw the tip forward. The right hand is being the support and the energy is transferred into the tip. This happens for a fraction of a second. Don't hold this, because immediately what you need to do is that you need to relax your fingers and your wrist, but your arms stay on the same place. Look. Okay, wait, hold on. It's taking a minute. Why is it? Okay, you see? Your arms stay on the same place. The tip bounces off. You don't want to stick it. It bounces off. Your arms are forward. And you really cannot tell here, but there's no tension here. The position is sturdy, like you have a good posture, you have a good support, but you're not tense at this point. The reason for that is because, especially when you're doing your technique and there's an opportunity for another technique, you can immediately go from that position. You don't have to do any extra adjustment. And also, if you put too much force into it, it becomes sloppy. If you miss, you can overextend and it becomes a problem. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Funky Liu, you don't have to call me Sensei. You can just call me Jose. Thank you very much, though. You always make the mistake to pull the shinai back. You guess your problem might be using your right hand too much, but just very hard to overcome. Yes, and I'm going to tell you, the best solution for this is practice it at home. Listen, it's funny because when I had the stream with Andy, he mentioned that he doesn't do much or any suburi at home, right? But he does do a lot of studying, a lot of mitori geiko through video and so on. And my personal practice, what I like to do is I like to do the same thing, but I also like to break things down and slow them down. So one thing that I like to do, let me just go back here. and then back here. One thing that I like to do is to grab my shinai, is to like slow it down and break it down. Try to understand the motion. Isolate the legs, isolate the body, just understand a good posture. And from here, you can understand how the motion goes. Do it slow and do it correctly all the way. So try to replicate what is it that you're trying to do, what is it that you want to do, break it down, do it a couple times. Sometimes I like to do it with one hand as well. For me, the right hand, it's a support, and my middle finger is the place where it becomes the support of the sword. So I can also like to do this as well. And the shinai kind of rotates around this point for me. So I like to do that, break it down. I even record it. I try to look at it in the mirror. I have a mirror right here, so I can do that as well. You know, like practice maybe my stepping, and then also the stepping with the motion of the sword. Try different ways. That's the way that I like to break it down, to try to understand how to get rid of bad habits. It takes longer to get rid of bad habits than it does to learn it from zero correctly or wrong. But you want to try to dedicate some time if you feel that you have mistakes, because that way you will be able to overcome these mistakes and build up yourself into faster and stronger kendo. By the way, for me, if you pick this up, this is the secret to having explosive techniques. Because what ends up happening when you have a good foundations of your small man is that, hold on. When you have a good foundations of small man, you don't have to think about this, and this is what I feel gives you explosive kendo. That you're able to start moving your legs first, then your hands start shooting at your opponent, and at the very last second, when there's the fumikiri and the fumikomi, that's when the tenouchi happens. So you start creating momentum with your body, then that speed that you build up, you add to that speed the hands. And then you add the tip. So if I do it like this, maybe. So you see, if I were to do my hands first and then my body, which is the mistake that many people do, they throw the hands. There's only so much speed that I can achieve. But if I'm doing this and then I throw my hands like this, my sword comes out much faster. Much faster. Christina, thank you for passing by. Welcome to the stream. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, happy holidays. We're coming close to Christmas. By the way, what is good kendo gifts for you? What do you consider to be a good kendo gift? Funky, if you would like, catch yourself in some videos, send them to me and we can analyze them, because that's what I'm going to try to be doing for this upcoming year. Trying to use not only the examples that we see from the videos from Japan, but also from our examples, and see how we can build up our kendo. By the way, if anybody would like to be part of the Discord server, that's where I will be taking the videos. The Discord server, it will come up in the comments. If you haven't, guys, please take a second to hit the like button. Really helps the channel. And it's something that you will get a couple of, more people here, so we can get a little bit more feedback. Anyways, so I wanted to work on this. Let's see if they do. So you see right here, there's a small, Jensen, welcome to the stream. A small tension, brief tension. And immediately the sword releases, but there is still a structure there. It's not just it got broken down, right? No extra tension, nothing less. Now, this right here, I don't know if you guys do it like this, but this could be something very difficult, especially if you're not used to doing it this fast. Okay, what's going to happen here? He's going to throw his body and do big men after he engaged the body to go in. There's another video, and I'm going to show that one for a second because this is more of what I'm trying to do for my men right now. But this is extremely hard. Trying to raise and bring your hands down as you're midair. That's what's happening here. You see that? So how do you build yourself up for this? First, obviously, is that you want to try to bring your hands up and engaging your body properly, your lower body to attack. Then you build it up to doing it at the same time. So you try to throw the body in, and when you're engaging the legs, you use your hands. And then obviously you get to the point where you can throw everything at the same time. Actually, not everything at the same time. The legs first, and then the sword. So if you look at it, look, see right here, the legs are coming in so fast, are so engaged, and the sword is catching up to the hands. So this really good practice. If you do this, you will get tired, and you want to make sure that you don't do it sloppy. So that's why you have to build yourself up for this, because you don't want to get bad habits. But this will allow you to learn how to really be explosive, because it's really hard to do if you haven't picked up the foundations for it. Okay, I wanna do one more time. I want you guys to watch it, how he does it. Okay, I really like it, so I'm gonna okay, this last one who is coming in, okay, again, you see he's engaging, he's creating momentum already, he's pushing with the left leg, and then he's bringing the hands up and down. Very solid, very nice strike, and amazing follow through, by the way. Really good follow through. By the way, I'm gonna show you a video of mine. This is something that I personally need to work on right now at this moment. Okay, I wanted to do that one, and I wanted to do kote, man, but maybe kote. I personally don't like to practice big kote at the dojo. People tend to hit way too hard when you do big kote. But if you do practice big kote, or if I have to, do big kote for some reason at the dojo, I always instruct the people of a couple of things. One, you want to hit forward, not down. This could be very painful. Second of all, this is not about how hard you can hit. It's about hitting on target and being able to relax right after the impact. So, okay. Okay, one more time. Again, I don't like to practice big kote at the dojo because it could be very hurtful and very painful. So, but if you're doing big kote, one thing that you want to make sure is that your intention is forward and not down. So what do I mean by that? Look at the hands. Look at the hands when they strike. They're away from the body, right? If you look also at the tip of the shinai, look at how much the shinai bent, right? And right after the attack, there is not that extra tension forward. That's why I think we have to practice men first, understand how to do tenouchi and the relaxation, and then bring that into kote, because it could be very painful. So again, especially for big kote, it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how accurate you can be. And at this point, you're understanding, or you're trying to understand, at this point, you're trying to understand distance, the approach, the right place of impact, the right distance from your opponent. And you're also trying to understand how does it look like for me to be able to hit a kote? What is the open kote? You don't want to just come in and hit blindly, right? Also, quick little side note, this is why we need good motodachi, and this is why motodachi tends to be the higher level first, so that way you can show the person what a good opening looks like. I feel that a good sensei will let you know, okay, this wasn't the opportunity, or this wasn't the right moment to hit, or this wasn't the right approach to get an opening for me. So this is a couple of things that we can, explore at a future time, but this is very important. When you're doing big kote, please be careful of your partner. I feel like a lot of people get excited about it, so I just needed to make a point about that. Now, that being said, you notice that this kote is not lazy, right? It's strong kote, but you can tell it's not as painful as if when someone hits down, away from the body. Look at this extension. Now that he's adding fumikomi, it's a little bit more evident of throwing the kote away from the body. Now, there's many different places to hit kote, many different ways, angles that we can use in order to get a good kote. But I think basic kote, it's number one, away from your body, not down. You want to get full extension. And the left hand, it's pretty much at the same level that if you were to be doing men. So at this point, the left hand, it's on the solar plexus. So I want you guys to see kote men in a second, and you will see what I mean. Okay, he's gonna do do now. Let me see a little bit forward. I want to go for kote men. Hold on. I don't remember if there's kote men in this video. Okay, hold on. Okay. So for kote men, it's also for kote. The reason why you want to get a good foundation for the kote is because it's going to lead you to have a successful kote men. So if you notice everything we have talked about before, you have to be very mindful of your tenouchi, good extension of your body, and your distance and footwork. What's happening here, you have to make sure that you do a small step for the kote, but then if your opponent doesn't go back, you're gonna have to do even a smaller step to hit that man. But it is possible because if you have the good posture, good foundations, your body will be there already. It will be there ready for the man after the kote. Look. So you see, he hits the kote with full extension of his arms. The left arm is pretty much in front of the solar plexus. And then with the same energy of the bounce, he gets the momentum to go for the man. In this case, they're practicing Kihon. His partner is going backwards to make it a little bit comfortable. But if you needed to do it a little bit more compact, it's easier as well. So if you see here, he gets a full extension, and you see what I'm telling you? This position is very similar as if he were to be doing men. And then for the men, that. Now, Shen, I don't know if you're still here, But this is also very important to understand as well. And in this case, he's pushing his left hand further than his right hand in order to get the necessary momentum and movement of his sword in order to get into the men. Wait for a second and you will see. So in this case, what is he doing? He's pushing in his left hand straight forward, right? His right hand, he's not throwing it in. Number one, he needs to get around the shinai. Number two is just the way that he's doing it when he's doing it super fast. Because remember, the right hand should be relaxed and the left hand is the one engaged. So he's really pushing for it right now. At this point, his left hand is using the tenouchi and bringing the tip down, and the right hand, it's also coming with there. It's also coming with the sword. Now, I think I'll be lying to tell you at this point that he's only using the left hand. I think he's really going for it, so he's probably putting a lot of force on the left hand and some force on the right hand. Now, he's not doing this in order just to hit hard. He's doing it to be fast. Again, I wouldn't be able to tell you that this is a good or a bad habit. It's just the way he's doing it, right? And from here, what's going to happen is that he's trying to go for kote on one side and then going around to hit the men. Now, most people will do this. Most people, to get the sword around, will use the right hand to come around, right? But this is not powerful. So instead, what he does, let me just go back to this for a second. What he does is that he pushes in to bring the tip back, to then use the tenouchi to bring the tip forward. Did you watch it? So you can tell, I was pointing with my finger, I should have pointed with the mouse, that you can tell here that his elbow is flexible, but he's not pulling, right? He's pushing with the left hand, bringing the tip around, and look how he goes around the other side. Granted, his opponent also helping by moving the sword out of the way, but he's doing this in order to do kote in one side and then men on the other side with the left hand. You don't want to use your right hand to move from one side to the other. The right hand is the guidance, yes, but it's not the one creating the momentum. This is done with the left hand. Does that make sense? I really like to do this. I like to break these things down because sometimes we will see this type of things and we'll think, oh, he's doing it this way, so I can do it as well. I should do it this way as well. No, we should understand what's happening here. And he's using the left hand to create power. The right hand is guiding the sword, but it's not pulling it back and it's not pushing. The left hand is creating power. Again, he is using force on the right hand, but not to hit down, not to stick the sword. It's just to make it move faster. So he's helping the left hand, but he's not pushing with the left. He's helping the left hand, but he's not pushing with the right hand. I feel like I'm saying the word hand too many times. Now, right after the men, and this is kind of what I wanted to bring up today because this is something that I noticed in my kendo, my personal kendo, that I want to share with you guys today. Something I want to fix. So from here, you see he's pulling back, and look, after the hit, his hands, his arms are staying there. His hands are getting flexible, and then you see that the elbows start getting flexible as well, but engage, right? At this point, he knows he has to pass through, so he's not re-engaging for another technique, but his hands are still present, right? And if you look at the way he does it after the kote, you see, after the kote, after the impact, what happens? He relaxes, but because he knows, right at this point, I would say that his wrist and his fingers are relaxed. But because he knows he has to do another technique or he has another opportunity, guess what happens? He re-engages by pushing with the left and pulling the left again. But then at this point, after the technique, he says, okay, there's no more options. Then he's able to come in and relax a little bit more. This, he's raising the hands up here. This is not a good habit. And I'm sure that if your sensei sees you trying to do this up like this, they'll probably say that's a big no-no, right? But understand at this point, he's doing it very hard and he's just trying to follow the momentum that the sword is giving him. He's not pushing the hands up. Just happens to be that after the hit, the hands went up and he followed the transition. Now, the most important part of kotemen and the biggest thing that you can learn. Okay, hold on. Let me go back real quick. The biggest reason why you need to practice kotemen is because kotemen will teach you how to move your feet after your technique. If you look at this, look what happens. Normally, when you ask somebody to do kotemen, they bring the left leg quick. He's bringing it so quick that the left leg is out of the floor before the fumikomi lands, right? Pretty much bringing the left leg immediately after the fumikomi. And then immediately he pushes to go for the men. Again, he pushes himself off the ground before the fumikomi lands and then brings the left leg quick to keep going forward. So many times people, when they do men, they drag the leg, but if you ask them to do kotemen, they will do it good. So I feel that if you're very conscious of how you do your footwork for kotemen and then use this during your regular men practice, it will help you understand how to not drag your left leg and have better momentum. As a matter of fact, when I was in Greece, one of the senseis that I practiced with, he even recommended me, a sensei I practiced with before, he recommended me to do a fumikomi after my technique in order to kind of get that feeling. So it's the same, I feel it's the same concept right here. The other thing that I think kotemen helps you understand is the timing of combinations, right? So maybe you're not doing kotemen, maybe you're doing suriagemen. It's the same timing, right? You want to do the same rhythm. I like to call it rhythm maybe, but it's like pop, pop. It helps you understand how to create that rhythm and how to be able to be fluid from one technique to the next. And also, like if you're doing like, let me see. Even if you're not doing two fumikomi, even if you're doing just straight suriage and then going into men, it helps you a lot understand the rhythm of the continuation, the continuity of your techniques. So that being said, practice kotemen. Let me know how that goes. Let me know if you can catch some benefits. Let me know if you can get some benefits of doing kotemen, being mindful of your footwork, and if you can transfer that into another technique. Discipline. That omote kote was a little deep. He had to make adjustments on the fly. Yeah, and this happens too. But what I'm trying to make the point here is that you want to push yourself in and bring the left leg quick. So whether it's deep, you have to adjust to. You also have to understand how to make your steps shorter or longer depending on the situation. As a matter of fact, normally when I'm practicing as a motodachi to somebody that's lower level, I try to make the distance as comfortable and easy as possible. And then as they level up, or as they move up, I try to make it a little bit more challenging. But for myself, for example, I also like a little bit of the surprise where sometimes my motodachi, my partner, doesn't move back. So I have to make short and then shorter steps. Or sometimes I have to, at the very next one, I have to go short and then very long and so on, right? So try to make it a little bit so I can adapt on the fly, as you said. So yeah, you have to do it. This is a skill you need to pick up. And you also do that through Kote Men. So that being said, I wanted to show you guys seen this video from me several times before, okay? And is the video from Teramoto. I want to show you guys the way that he does men and Kote Men. Okay, I believe it's right here. So here, okay, so this video doesn't have music, so I will open this up. I don't want to get, a copyright thing on YouTube. If you look at this, look how he throws himself into the man. Sorry, let's do big man. Okay, he practices big man during his kirikaeshi. I want you guys to see this real quick. Look how he throws himself into the man by leaping in with his upper body, but engaging his lower body. You see that? So if you slow it down, he engages into and throws his technique. Now, there's something of a little bit of bad habit that people can pick up from doing this that I want you to be very aware of, is that raising the sword as you're moving forward. So you want to make sure that you engage your back leg before your sword goes up. You see here, he's kind of doing it this opposite way. This is Teramoto, so like it works for him. That's how he does it. But yeah, that's it. Now on this one, I feel it's a little bit different, but still the same concept. You see, he likes to throw his upper body in, create momentum, and then engaging his sword. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of my practice with men, so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm trying to do a little bit of this. I'm not exactly copying what he's doing, but I'm trying to experiment on how this feels. And I'll tell you that as we do that. Discipline, you said, would been better to do ura kote at the start of the kote. He had to overcompensate by making his tip perpendicular to get over the shinai. So when you practice Kihon, you want to practice going over the shinai, not under. Okay? Going under is a different motion. And we discussed this with the Nishimura. And if you guys haven't seen it, you guys should watch the way how Nishimura explains going for kote underneath and the difference of hitting from above. So for Kihon, you want to do it from above. Number one, because if you have somebody that's experienced, they're just pretty much going to get the shin out of the way and catch your man. But on the other hand, you're trying to create that extension. You're not trying to be just sneaky and tricky or trying to just get a kote. Right now, you're practicing your Kihon. You're trying to understand how to create power, the right distance, and understand that communication to go forward and what an opening looks like. Whether the kote goes better or not, I mean, everybody has their preference on how they like to attack. But when practicing Kihon, you want to practice both, right? But understand that going under is different than going over. So that being said, I want to show you guys small men before we move into my video. Oh, sorry. So let's watch it first, regular speed, and then we'll come back. very fluid, right? Look at the follow through as well. Okay, not gonna lie, this right now, it's what I'm trying to put into my kendo. And this is kind of like the video that I like to have more in my mind as I'm practicing my basics. I am fully aware that I don't have the body type of Teramoto, and I don't have the same movements as he does, but I really like how he approaches this. So this is what I'm using the most. I like to visualize this as I do my practice. Now, things to keep in mind when you're practicing small men. Number one, again, I like to come in from a little bit of far distance, trying to understand my opponent from where the tips are touching, rather than to just blindly come in and attacking, or just starting at the middle of this point. An extra benefit from that is that as I'm coming in, it creates a little bit of momentum to coming forward. Give me 1 second, guys. I have a couple comments here that they need to. Oh my god, I got a spammer. Okay. Okay. Hopefully this happens once in a while. I don't know why. Okay. Oh shoot! No! What happened there? Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. Sorry guys. So when you're doing, sorry, this completely threw me off. I hate when the bots show up and they disturb the chat. When you're doing small man, some of the things you want to keep in mind. Again, I like to start from this far distance. Another thing that it does, it just gives me some time to understand the communication with my opponent, how to come in to my opponent, and what an opening looks like, and feeling the pressure or the tension that my opponent may have on their shinai. So as he does this, as he does this, you see, when he steps forward, he starts creating momentum. He brings the left leg, he re-engages the left leg, and at this point, he pushes in, does the fumikiri, and then engages the hands by throwing the hands forward and doing tenouchi. So this is a good angle. Look what happens here. He brings in the left leg, he engages the left leg to push forward. Again, he's not falling into the opponent, he is pushing himself into it. And when he throws his body forward, pushing with the left leg, he engages his hands, he throws his hands forward towards the opponent and engages the tenouchi to bring the tip down. Then he allows the sword to bounce and just continues the momentum. I believe, they're not gonna do a slow motion, so let me just do another look at this point right here. So again, he creates momentum, he engages the legs, pushes in the hands forward. He's not bringing the tip up by pulling with the right hand. He's just pushing with the left hand and brings the hands forward towards the opponent, engages the tenouchi to bring the tip down, and this creates the impact. And at the moment of impact, there's a little bit of a tension. Look how the shinai looks at the moment of impact, right? And then right after that, he's not sticking the shinai down. He's letting it bounce. Doing this by relaxing the fingers and the wrist, not by pulling the sword back, not by pushing it up, just letting it bounce by relaxing the wrists and the fingers. Continues the motion and keeps the arms forward. The footwork as well, he's pushing in with the back leg to bring it forward. Very sharp. Very relaxed. If you see this after, you see that there is strength here, but there's also, you see that there is strength here, but there's also power. I mean, you see that there's power and strength here, but there's also relaxation. This is very important. Very important. Okay, so let me see. So, this is kote men. I want you to see the two different ways that they do it, because I feel like they switch it up. Oh no, they don't. This is a little bit different. He's blocking the kote. And then he's getting an opening for the men. This is a little bit of a different variation that you can do at the dojo to understand this timing of attacking. You can do where the person blocks the kote and then you have to go for the men. This also helps you understand how to move the sword around when there's a missed attack. But I wanted to see... this is not the one that I wanted to... Okay, so this is... Okay, he's doing the Banawaza. Anyway, so okay, we saw the way of the do kote. So now what I want to do is I want to show you a quick little video of mine that for my practice, and maybe we can start breaking down some of the things that I would like to improve. And I wanted to explore another video that I was sent to me. A second. Okay. Oh. Sorry, let me just... Oh, this looks horrible. So bright. How do I... Sorry, I opened this up earlier and it looked... Ah, okay. Perfect. Maybe a little bit like this will be good. Okay. I'll play it full speed. So, I'll play one more time. You guys tell me if you see anything interesting, anything that you feel that I could do better, or something that you feel that it's good. Now, and let me break it down a little bit of what was happening, or what I was thinking. So again, I'm practicing trying to understand my back leg engagement before and during my decision of taking my technique, of doing my technique. So this little step that you see me do right there is kind of a little bit of me trying to be comfortable, or me trying to kind of just remind myself into it. Again, it's only 2 of us at the dojo, so I'm taking my time. And as I'm coming in, I'm trying to do what Teramoto is doing, of pushing, kind of like allowing his body to fall into attack and then pushing into the technique, or pushing into the opponent. Not saying that I'm doing it like him, but this is what I'm trying to do. Now, the way I like to analyze my own videos, and I will recommend you to do this as well, is because we're so good at looking at the bad things that we tend to kind of put ourselves down. And as we do this, we tend to not focus on the things that we should be doing. So we tend to focus more on the things that we shouldn't do. So in order for you to kind of change that, you want to start looking at what are some of the things that you're doing good, that you like that you're doing, maybe something that you work hard already, and this is coming out naturally. And then what could you do better instead of not doing it wrong? Because the wording is also very important. Now, I'm going to tell you on this first step, on this first attack, there's a couple of things that I really like on my technique. Number one is that I'm living off the ground, attacking. I feel like I'm a little bit deep than what I like to be, but I am throwing my body into my partner. I am not just holding back, right? Even though I'm trying a new way of doing it, I'm not holding back. I'm engaging everything in there, and my attack is coming in strong. After that, I am relaxing my fingers and my wrist. My hands are still forward, and I feel like I'm getting a good impact when I do that. That being said, a couple of things I want to do better. So I just showed you Teramoto's example, so it's kind of hard to follow it, right? Because he does it so good. And I definitely don't do it as good as he does it. There's a couple of things that I noticed that he did. Granted, he raised the hand a little bit different. I'm still trying to understand a little bit of the time that he's doing it and the reason for it. But I feel like at this point, my left leg didn't come in as sharp as I would like it to be. So this is something that I will try to keep in mind more during my practice, right? On that first step. But I did like that immediately after I moved it forward, I engaged it. It's pushing into my opponent. Now, previously, so this. Another thing that I like that is something that many people tend to have problem with is that when they engage into a technique and they raise the hands, their back kind of like bends backwards, right? They lose that engagement of the core. So if you notice here, I'm trying to keep my engagement of the core completely until I'm through. The whole time. I'm trying to keep my engagement, my core engagement the whole time. Now, a little bit too fast. Okay. I feel that there's a little bit of tension on my shoulders right after the hit. If you look at the hits from Teramoto and Takenouchi, there was a little bit more relaxation at the moment of impact on the shoulders. So that's something that I will keep in mind as well. And in this last one, I'm liking that I'm bringing my hands naturally without thinking about it, bringing both my hands above my head, throwing full extension. And again, I'm letting the sword bounce. I'm not sticking it, and I'm allowing myself to just drive in. Now, there's one thing that I feel that I could improve much more, and it has to do again with footwork, is my left leg and my right leg. Okay, I'm bringing my left leg a little bit too forward. Last week I shared in the video from Takenouchi, I was talking about that he brings the left leg and the left leg lands at the same distance as the right foot does, or maybe even a little bit ahead, but he's not crossing the legs. If you notice, that's not what I'm doing here. My left leg is coming past my right leg, and that's something that I need to be quicker on my right leg. I need to be conscious on being quicker on my right leg, so that way my left leg doesn't pass my right. Okay? What this does when you do this is that it allows you to have more power for another technique if you need it, or if you need to go faster as well, I can create more power from my left leg rather than just pulling myself forward from my right. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but right now what I'm doing is that I'm pulling myself forward rather than pushing myself forward. So eventually you can create more power by pushing rather than pulling. Obviously you want to use both, but I'm just saying right now I'm only using that pulling. This is something that you might want to also work on yourself. Okay, so this is kind of like the format of what I like to do when I practice my techniques. So that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give some feedback based on a video that one of you guys sent me. And there's a couple of things that this person asked me to keep an eye on. So I'll be talking about that. Discipline equals discipline. You said your mind wasn't small kote. I understand. And when I was talking about it, it still holds that you want to make sure that you hit above the shinai when you're practicing the kihon. It's not about just what would have been better in the situation. Like, regardless, when you're doing your kihon, you want to practice both. So whether they were doing big or small, there's situations where you want to go above rather than going underneath. Also, if you're hitting your opponent's shinai as you do this, there's also something that you're not doing correctly. So that's something you should be working on. Guys, if you haven't, take a second to hit the like button. It really helps the stream be pushed out to more people. And, it really helps the channel grow. Okay, so let me tell you the premise of this video. Again, in the Discord server, you guys are welcome to pass by and join anytime. I put a message that you guys can send me some videos so we can analyze them live during the stream. So I want to say thank you for the people that's been sending me videos, and I want to make sure that we keep the same feeling that we have in the Discord server in here. I want constructive criticism. I don't want to if people make mistakes and whatever. This is amazing that we're getting the other side of like the more relatable part of Kendo that we can actually learn from and trying to see how can we improve. So I want to be sure that everybody is very supportive of the people sharing here. Now, this is a division competition. The person that sent me this asked me to focus on posture. And also, I was told that the Kenshi suffered an injury, and it's on the right. I think the person that sent me this, it's on the right if I'm not mistaken. You see? Yes, he's on white. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play it, and then we're going to go for a few observations because this is not too long. Also, can you guys hear the video? I hope you guys can. Super loud though. One thing that I like to do sometimes is to stop and see why somebody raised the flag. What makes it look like an Ippon for that person, right? We'll do that in a second. Very nice, very nice. Very nice opportunity, very nice execution. I wonder what happened here. that step, that first step was dangerous. This type of motion is a lot of right hand motion, and I'll explain to you guys in a second why. Ooh, dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Okay, so I was asked to look specifically at posture. Again, what I like to do is I like to talk about not only what the person asked me to look at, but also what some of the things that I feel that are happening that are very nice, that are very good, and maybe some of the things that we can work on and improve. So, when I'm asked to look at posture, I'm looking at the person even before the match start. You gotta understand that Shiai or testing starts before the Hajime. So the moment where you approach the court, the walking towards your opponent, Sonkyo, I think are very important in order to represent or to let the Shimpan or the testing panel know who you are. So you want to come in with confidence and you want to understand what good posture looks for good Kendo. So basically, for me, good posture, you want to engage your core, and let me show maybe this angle right here. One thing you want to do, the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to posture is that they arch their back, right? Because they feel like, okay, I'm gonna be straight, and then their back ends up being arched. What you want to do, it's quite the opposite. You want to bring your hips forward and your back should be straight. Should be straight down rather than arch. Okay, so maybe it's hard to see it like this, but this is arch, and then my body right now, so I'm engaging my core, my hips are forward, and maybe my posture, it's a little bit different, right? So maybe this is hard to see with the shirt on, but when you arch your back, you kind of put all your weight in the upper side. You want to lower your center of gravity, bring your hips forward, shoulders back and down, and as you walk towards your opponent, again, you don't want to puff your chest up like this. You just want to naturally bring your hands, your shoulders back and down, and walk straight forward. So that's talking about just basic posture. But the other point that I feel is very important is the Sonkyo. And let me show it real quick here. So right here, the Sonkyo, and again, we're looking at white. The Sonkyo, it's a little bit unstable. I feel that your upper body, it's leaning forward and you want to make it just straight. The way I like to think about it is like, imagine you're in an elevator and just going down, right? So let me make sure that, so for Sonkyo, there's a couple of tricks or a couple of things that you can do to make it a little bit easier to come down straight. Okay, first is that if your feet are too apart, then it kind of becomes a little bit of a squat. This is not good. So what you want to do, what I do normally is I kind of bring my heel kind of to touch my other heel, but not really touching it, and then I start by lifting the heels off the ground and I try to come in straight. And same thing to come back up. You don't want to kind of like lean forward. It's not a squat. So a lot of the reasons why I see people do that is because their legs end up being a little bit too far apart. Okay. Switch up here. Now, when I talk about kamae, for me, kamae is not just the posture, right? It's not just having your sword between you and your opponent. For me, kamae, it's fluid. You move around. And what are you doing here? At the beginning, you start moving, you get out of the center. You move a little bit to the side, but I don't know if it's because you kind of just lost your balance and you cut yourself out there, or it's something that you're being instructed to do. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. It's good. It's good to kind of like move in and kind of adjust yourself and get into a good position, but you want to make sure that you're doing it purposely, not just randomly. Shane, you're saying you figure out you lean forward was because your shinai was too far away from your body when in sankyo. So yeah, that's another thing. You want to make sure that your shinai, it's in the right position, not too far away, because also if you weight, in other words, if your weight's forward, then you're gonna be off balance. Okay, so one thing I do see that there is good posture in you. I don't see that the shoulders are rolled forward, and I like it. I like how you're keeping your shinai towards your opponent, not kind of to the sides. You're not playing too much around at knocking the shinai out of the way, losing your center. But the way that you're moving, it's a little bit, what's the word? It's a little bit slow in the sense of you're taking a lot of time switching the weight from one leg to the other. I will be making a video on footwork, but overall, overall, when you're trying to move, you want to make sure that you don't go one leg, then the other. Every time you move one leg, the other one is pushing all the way until it leaves the ground. And one thing that I like to do for my own practice about this is, again, in front of the mirror, maybe just one step, even if it's to the side. You want to do it sharply. There has to be tension. There has to be tension and relaxation at the same time. So it's tricky, right? But you want to have a good posture, good kamae, and understand, okay, pushing forward, pushing back, right, left. If I need to move to the side, move around, and even mix that up with shinai movement, right? But ideally, if you're moving forward and you're not necessarily committing to a step, you don't want to let go of the pressure of the back leg. So the biggest mistake that I see people do is that they do like they're going to go forward and then they put the weight on the right leg. There's nothing here, you see? So it should be, your weight should be here all the way until you move the leg forward. And you should try to bring it up sharp. You should always try to bring it up sharp. Hands down. Hope that makes sense. Oh, sorry, I moved this up. Okay, and because you're not moving your legs, you're not creating momentum, so you're always kind of playing catch up when the opponent moves. Oh, sorry guys. So, I said I wanted to bring this up a little bit. So if you see, let me see. Let's do a little bit of slow motion here. If you see, red moves slightly before with more intention. You see? So at this point, red created momentum and you're behind. So he's able to come in forward much more than you are. You're coming in forward as a reaction. Granted, there's tension in between both players, but at this point, he or she took the opportunity because they were coming in with more momentum. They created that momentum. Thankfully, it wasn't Ippon. So, a lot of stopping. Again, You don't want to be just jumping into the opponent, but you want to not be just flat-footed. You don't want to go, okay, my weight is on one leg, then the other one. You're always pushing forward towards the opponent. For me, my kamae, it feels that my right leg is holding me back from going into my opponent. It's like holding me, and as soon as I let it go, boom, I can go in. It looks to me that you are only moving forward when you're making the decision to go forward or because you're reacting to an opponent. I think this is a good showing of that. Your opponent, you see he's moving forward. He's gonna move again. Okay, actually, you're here, you're moving forward. Here, your opponent reacted. But you're not committed to coming forward. You cannot come in forward, but already ready to go back, right? Now, on Shiai, I know it can be very stressful, so don't do this, obviously, in Shiai, but when you're in practice, get that fear out. Practice going in. Just throw yourself in. Because even when you go forward, you see there's very little energy being dissipated after because you didn't really create too much energy to go forward. If you see the way that the attack comes in from your opponent, you see there's a lot more momentum coming from your opponent. And I think that this is a good example here as well for work. You see right here, it looks like your weight is on your front leg. Here, definitely, you see how the left leg is moving forward. Maybe even crossing. But at this point, it's really hard to create momentum forward. So you want to create that momentum forward from your back leg. Always from your back leg. I think that your recovery is pretty good. Your attention to the opponent, it's amazing. You keep your shinai forward. Immediately, you're looking at the opponent and you look like you want to fight. But when you're moving, it doesn't look like you want to fight. It looks like you're either trying to bait the opponent or you're holding yourself back. Like afraid of coming in. Great communication right here. Great contact with the sword. If you see, there's a little bit of back and forth tension, but not excessive. My advice is always to try to cut into the opponent rather than pushing to the side, right? But maybe you're trying to figure out what do you feel on the sword there, but you're not overly pushing. Very good on keeping your center. Okay, I really like this intention right here. You see, your opponent just threw a random technique without any breaking in the pressure, without any previous motion. It looked like it was just out of nowhere, and your reaction was to come in. I think that this is a good mentality, right? But and wait, also, I feel like you also got some lift out there. Okay. Let's look at this real quick. Okay. It looks like you're engaging your leg to push up rather than forward. This is actually something that I went through a lot. And let me just switch to this camera real quick. Okay, so many people, when they're tense in their posture, their leg might be straight or they might be a little bit bent. And when they push, the first thing that does is to go forward. This is why I like to have that forward momentum. This is why I like to have that forward momentum towards my opponent. Always having this going forward. So my right leg is pulling me back. My left leg is always pushing this forward to go in. Hope that makes sense. Now, this was a very good opportunity. I feel that here, you pick your moment, you took it. Let me go back for a second. Okay. So, I always like to bring up why was an Ippon successful, right? So I want to kind of slow it down. It's hard to see it from this angle, but it looks to me that your opponent, you caught your opponent kind of in a little bit of a weird posture, right? His back leg has very little engagement. So maybe he's getting tense, he's leaning himself forward, he's trying to get a reaction by just leaning without really committing. And I feel that your kamae is very calm. This is very good because you might be very observative of what's happening. And you step in and continuate it into an attack. You see, it looks to me, oh, can I go back like, oh, that was too much. Okay. Oh, I can go back one frame. Okay. So you see, you have more of the center than he does. His shinai, he or she, sorry, it's a little bit outward. And at this position, once you took this control and you came in forward, now he has to recenter himself and you were able to come in with a good straightforward technique. I wish I had a shot on the side of this because I feel that this was very good, very well executed. To me, it looks like you did a little bit of kind of like all Siamen. And again, it's hard to see it, but it looks like you kind of came in as you suppressed the shinai and came in one motion rather than making it two. And I think that making it two motions is what's affecting your ability to get more Ippons. Because again, you're switching the weight from one leg to then the next one to then the other one to push again. So you want to make it where you never stop pushing forward. And for this, practice in front of the mirror and practice doing a lot of footwork as you are in the dojo. Luis, thank you for passing by. I really appreciate you being here. You said really interesting and informative. Yeah, really look forward to to my presentations. Thank you very much for passing by. You're always really motivating too. I am very well. I'm doing very well. Hope you're getting some good practices. And again, anybody that would like to send me some videos for us to watch and to learn from, please join the Discord server. Send them to me that way. The only ways I'm getting them is either that or if you are a member of the channel, you can send them to me through here. But Discord is free, so you guys are welcome to pass by. Okay. Very nice, man. Now, what I would like to see, and maybe this is why kind of like this judge didn't quite like it, it's a little bit more engagement after the technique, you see? Very little follow through and then kind of crossing the legs. You want to kind of push out. And maybe because he didn't like it, he tried to kind of convince the other judges that it wasn't an Ippon, which I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't like that, but I don't know what happened at the same time. So I always tell people, every time the fight stops and you re-engage, this is a very dangerous place. Especially like after an Ippon or whatever, people tend to get caught by surprise. So at this point, you need to be extremely careful because it kind of, you don't know what happened. Did you just poke the bull? Or maybe you poke something that is not alive so then you can take an opportunity, or maybe it's coming back with fury. So you got to be careful with this. And you kind of fell victim of that because he's not backing up, right? Like you kind of stay in the same place. Your opponent is trying to come in and trying to just throw techniques. So I like that your reaction was forward. You turn around and re-engage. Very well. Very well. But at the same time, you always want to be careful at the hajime. You see, it almost looks like, I'm not saying that you're doing this, but it almost looks like after each step, you're dragging. And kind of what I wanted to say before, your opponent is creating momentum. Oh, sorry. Your opponent is creating momentum and you're flat-footed at this point, right? He's just coming in, not really well synchronized, but you are flat-footed. So even at some mistakes that he came in, he could have gotten an Ippon there. Very good at being proactive after the attack. This I wanted to bring up, something that you or anybody could fall victim of and you want to be careful with. You see, he's attacking. So many people, you see right here, you haven't moved your feet. Your feet need to be more engaged. So footwork, footwork, footwork. That's why I always, on my videos, I talk so much about footwork on my streams. And Jan hasn't been in the stream for a while, but he's always making fun of me because I'm always looking at the feet. And it's because of this. If you have a good and engaged footwork, you can control the situation much better. So at this point, you see he's coming in, you're flat-footed, and all you can do at this point is just bring your right hand up. Now, if you're going to be deflecting, you also want to get in the habit of using your left hand to deflect. Okay, most people, when they're flat-footed, the first thing they do is that they use the right hand to bring themselves up, they bring their right hand to cover themselves up. This is a very scary situation. You want to use your left hand. So if you use the left hand, you anticipate by going away, not close. Bringing the shinai close can cause the person to hit really hard and then go through and actually hit you. But then also here, you have options. Here, there's not much movement you can do besides going out. But here, at least you can, rotate, move around. There's many things that you can do. So always try to deflect, engaging your left hand rather than pulling with your right hand, right? This is a mistake. You want to use your left hand, engage your left hand so you can actually control, do tenouchi, and do other stuff. Again, if you look at what happened here, your opponent is coming in, you're flat-footed, okay, that happens. Then you also use the right hand to bring it up, and it kind of takes away opportunities that you may have in order to do something. Now you see your hands are away from your body. It's really hard to kind of have your balance when your hands are out this way, right? But let's say that you had it here, right? You could re-engage and do the center and bring the sword back into your opponent. But here it's really hard. Now, if you had somebody that could do, for example, men do at this point, maybe, or men, like hit the men and then do gyakudo, then you'll be in trouble. So you always want to be in a position where you can have the most opportunities, the most door opens as possible. You see, every time you take a step, it's hard for you because you're shifting the weights. You gotta practice push, 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 push. Push, pull, push, pull. Push with your left, pull with your right. Push with your left, pull with your right. So let's see the Ippon one more time. So again, the person is coming in with momentum and you weren't able to engage your body to move out of the way. And, oh, sorry, that fell. And it's really hard to avoid. So at this point, it becomes, unfortunately for Q fights, it gets to a point where it becomes just endurance, right? Because at this point, maybe your opponent just keeps going, and maybe your opponent has more endurance than you do, and that's why they're able to catch you on a mistake. You want to try to save energy without being lazy, but at the same time, you also want to have a good engagement, not only attentiveness to your opponent, but also muscle engagement, so you're able to move the proper way without even thinking about it. Hope that makes sense. If I can tell one last thing before we head out, is that you want to move. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, my shine fell. Okay. Practicing moving slow and end up sharp. Many people, they want to do a long step and then disengage the left leg. You want to try to engage, slow, move fast. Slow, move fast. Why? Because let's say that I'm in a match, I'm engaging slow, and my opponent at that point, at that moment, decides to come in, I can throw a technique. But if I don't have this support from my back leg, what's going to happen is that if my weight is in my right leg, there's nothing I can do to push in to kind of counter my opponent. Even if it is to move to the side, right? You always want to be able to engage yourself. You always want to be able to engage yourself towards your opponent and be able to make it natural to always have that intention forward. I hope that makes sense, guys. This is something that's very, very important to do. I think it's the foundations of having strong kendo, the reason why I always talk about footwork, and the reason why I pay so much attention on my training on footwork. If that helps you guys, please let me know. If you would like me to do more of these things, if you would like to send me some of your videos, make sure that you are part of the Discord server. You're welcome to pass by and send me your videos there. This is something that's, that's how I'm doing it right now. That, or become a member of the stream, of the server. Not a stream, of the server, of the channel, sorry. Let me just repin that message. So you guys, it's gonna be on the pin message. Shen, okay, so you're saying moving slow, it's also harder to the opponent to notice you're moving in. Stealing distance. Yes, but there's a little bit of a difference between stealing distance and also letting them know that you're coming and making them react. So it's tricky because moving slow kind of serves a double purpose. Moving slow serves a double purpose. You could also use it to make it where, the person sees, they're coming, but you're not really coming yet. But this is also higher level practice, higher skill. We will talk more about this in a future video. So, guys, I still have a couple more videos that we're gonna do in the next stream. I hope to do Saturday for my next stream, the regular time that I do. And I think for today, I kind of went a little bit longer than I wanted. I went definitely longer than I wanted to. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this stream. Oh, we just had somebody subscribe. Neto on WKCY1. Welcome to the stream if you're here, and thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. So again, you guys are welcome to join the Discord server, become part of the Discord family, and send me your videos. Really helps when you guys send me your videos. We can actually explore some of the common mistakes that we have and figuring out how to fix them. Again, your input is always welcome as well, so you can bring that up and let me know how I can help you as well. Guys, thank you very much for passing by. I know we're coming closer to the holidays, so I hope this helps you guys build a plan for yourself for the upcoming year. Hopefully, my last stream of the year will be about making goals for yourself. So in 2023, we can grow better and we can grow together, okay? Thank you very much for passing by. If you haven't, please hit the like button. Share this channel and share these videos with people you want their channel to improve. It will really help the channel as well. Thank you very much, guys. You have a good rest of your night. Bye.